Okay, gee, we haven't seen this kind of crowd since we started all of this fun process, however many weeks or months ago. But anyway, what we are doing. Thanks for showing up.
Well, the other clock is a little off from this one.
So anyway, everybody knows both budgets went down to defeat on last Thursday's vote. So back to the drawing board for us. What I'd like to do now is I will open the floor to public comment. If anyone has anything they'd like to say. Yes, sir. Your name and address for the record.
Walt Burtzel, 42 Jupiter Drive.
Okay.
On the budget, I think there's lack of communication with the town and townspeople. A lot of people didn't know we were voting. I called up the town hall, asked if it was in the newspaper. And after a while, they said, oh yeah, it was in the newspaper on the 17th of May. What newspaper? Waterbury paper in the classified ads. I asked, well, a lot of people probably don't get the Waterbury paper. I do, I read from front to back. A lot of people get the Post or the Register. And they said, well, they can't put it in those papers too because it costs money, you know? Well, it's the townspeople's money. If we didn't pay the taxes, you wouldn't have no money. I figure everybody should have an opportunity to know what was going on. We went down to vote. The people, registered voters, they didn't know what was going on themselves. So I think it's a big lack of communication. And it says here, they had a small turnout because of weather. It wasn't the weather. Lack of communication. I think they could have done a better job when people know what's going on and what's in the budget.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Vittori?
Yes, Vittori, 9 Greenwood Circle, Chairman of the Board of Education. I'm here on behalf of the children of this town to beg you not to cut the Board of Education budget too much. We're already at level services, and when you cut below level services, we start losing services. We know that as of today, there is an insurance savings. Mr. Miller will talk about it a little bit, in the tune of about $100,000. So if you see fit to cut anything of our budget, that would be hopefully the number you would cut, because it's a savings we're getting now, and that's cutting more than that. I handed you a piece of paper. It was in the packet that we sent or gave to you at our budget presentation. I want to just cover it real quickly. If you look at the 4th page, this is a list of the towns and their per pupil spending, ranked in order of how much they spend per pupil. And there's 4 pages to it, and Seymour happens to be on the last page. We are presently 139 out of 166 towns. By cutting our budget in more than what's already been cut, if we don't get even our level of services, we start losing services to the children, and cut our number even lower, we're going to end up lower on this list. And I don't think it's a good thing to be low on this list. If you look at this particular page, you'll see that the ones in pink are the valley towns, and all the valley towns are in the bottom 20%. It says to me that the valley towns don't put a lot of money into education as compared to other towns in the state. If you look at the towns in yellow, which the state deems are in our dirt, those are the towns that are the same socioeconomic status as Seymour. There are, I think, 12 towns higher than us and 4 towns lower than us. So we're in the bottom percentage of that list. Now, I'm not saying we should be at the top of the list by any means, but I don't want to end up dropping down. The more you cut our budget, the more we drop down on this list. And we've been down low before, but we've been able to move up a bit. And over the years, our increases are basic increases, just in our salaries, taxes, our salaries, benefits, salaries go up almost 2% a year. In the past 5 years, we've only received a 1.2% increase. So we're actually going behind the curve every year over year instead of gaining on it. So every year we end up having to cut services, having to cut people. We've done that in the past. If you look at the towns on the top of this list, they're spending, the ones on the top, almost $25,000 per pupil. We're spending $12,500 per pupil. Yes, those are really, really nice to be able to do that. I'm not expecting Seymour to be there. And these towns only have 152, 117 students in school. But if you go down to 10 and 11, you'll see where there's thousands of kids in the school system. They're still spending $18,000 to $19,000 per pupil. And those are towns like Weston and Reading. And you hear those towns. You hear how good those schools are. People tell you that. Oh yeah, Weston and Reading have good schools. Because they pay for it. They're willing to do that. And I got the feeling in Seymour, people aren't willing to pay for the children's education. Now listen, if you cut our budget, you're not hurting me. You're not cutting me. You're cutting the children. It's hurting the children. I'm here, the rest of the board is here, as advocates for our children, the children of this town. So I'm hoping that with the savings that we're getting in insurance, you'll cut our budget that much and nothing more than that for the next budget referendum. And again, the referendum didn't lose by too much, so we're hoping we can get the vote out, get the yes votes out, and hopefully pass it the next time around. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under public comment?
Hi, Kristen Harmeling, 27 Patrick Drive. I am here as a Board of Education member, but also as a parent and a community member with 3 children still in the Seymour school system. I was surprisingly not too upset on Thursday, and you guys know I've been doing this for a long time, first as a Board of Finance member, now on the school board. I didn't feel like we got trounced on Thursday. I didn't feel like there was this public outcry of cut the budget because they're wasteful or they don't spend it properly. I think it was a combination of people in this town don't tend to kind of wake up to budget season until a first referendum happens. So you guys have been empowered with an enormous amount of responsibility in terms of deciding on behalf of the entire town and all 2,300 students what we get in our budget. So just to echo Mr. Portorti's comments, I don't think that people were crying, stamping mad at what the school budget is. I think they just don't want to pay more taxes, and quite frankly, neither do I. So if we can accomplish the goal of trying to reduce the budget by the amount of money that we realize in savings of healthcare, I think that that would be a great thing to do, and I think that that would make the budget palatable to the town because it did not lose that badly. I just don't feel like there's a need to go below the savings that we've already realized. So let's give us one more try holding the services that we have planned for right now still available for the children next year. Thank you.
Anyone else under public comment?
Can I say something else, or if nobody wants to speak? Walt Burton, 42 Jupiter Drive. The gentleman was talking about the person that town. They probably have the money to spend. Here in Seymour, we don't. Myself, I get a pension. I don't get a raise in the pension. I'm on Social Security. If I get a raise, Social Security, they take it right away. I went down to one vehicle. How much can we take every year? Well, it's only $167. If that's every year, where's it coming out of our pocket as senior citizens? How are we going to pay for that? And talking about quality education, I had 3 children graduate from Seymour High School. One is down at Yale, New Haven High, in the finance board, with a lot of people under her. The other works for USB Bank, is doing real well. She's global. My son, he travels all over the world with his job. Good education here in Seymour. It's not the amount of money. The kids want to learn. You got good teachers, they'll learn. Every year they come, they need more money, more money. You can't bleed a stone. A lot of us can't afford it. It's about time you start cutting some of this. If you don't need some programs, you don't need some teachers, cut them. We work out there in the workforce. They want to downsize, they cut you right away. They don't care what you are. You got to do the same thing here. You got to help the people out in town. You can't just keep on saying, we need more money, we need more money. You got to cut someplace too, like we cut back. Thank you.
Yes.
Alex Danka, 203 Pearl Street. I come up here a lot, usually at this time of the time. I usually try to stick up for a lot of the people before we start cutting things. I know last year I was under the knife for cutting, demanding my wife do not cut the police budget anymore. I thank the chief for parking a car out that night for me in front of my house. I'm here for 2 reasons. I'm here for the town side and for the Board of Ed. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about, I live on Social Security, I have a pension, the cost of living's going up. Well, I'll be there too. And you know what? If we keep cutting all the money out of the budget and taking the easy way out and taking big lump sums here and big lump sums here, who's going to come to this town? What business is going to come to this town and support this town? We just keep, since I've been living in this town, all we do is we keep cutting and cutting and cutting and just getting by, but we're not putting anything in there. And that's not healthy. You know what? I'm going to be at what he's doing, 20, 30 years collecting a pension. And it's going to be the same circle. I'm going to have to pay. That's how it is. Either you stay here or you move out. That's how it goes. Instead of come up here complaining all the time and saying what's right and what's wrong, get involved and make a change. I'm just asking that you guys think about me when you cut it. They said they have $100,000. Maybe we, instead of going all the time, well, we'll take that big lump, go right to the $100,000, go to $50,000 for both parts. Give it a shot and see what the town says. We didn't lose by that much. Let's stop taking out of the budget constantly and giving nothing back to the town, on the town side and the Board of Ed, because we're not too attractive out there to a lot of people. I don't see a lot of businesses coming into this town. I don't see people flocking here. I see a lot of people moving out. Hey, taxes, we all have to pay taxes. It's a part of life. I just ask that you be very kind before you really cut and just think about it. Don't take the easy way out and make a big lump sum here and a big lump sum here. Try a smaller step first. Thank you.
Anyone else at all? Before we close under public comment? Public comment going once, going twice. Close public comment. At this point in time, I will, Jim, you can come up here, because it's deliberations as an alternate. At this time, I'll let the first selectman fresh off his victory.
Second place. I beat Senator Kane. So,
Okay, off the second place finish in a tie contest, apparently. Go ahead, Kirk. You've got some ideas.
thank you.
Before we start talking as a board, go ahead.
We raised $1,110 for Meals on Wheels. So I apologize if I burp. The tacos were much bigger than advertised, and I'm not feeling all that well right now. So.
That's great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to address a couple things. First, some of the comments that were made during public comment. One of the things that's really troubling me is comments people are making that this budget was not advertised. The fact that we were voting on May 1st was not advertised. I personally take offense to that. The information was in the Waterbury Republican, the New Haven Register, the Valley Independent, Sentinel, the Valley Gazette. It's on the Facebook page. It was on the website. It was discussed at Board of Selectmen meeting, Board of Finance meeting, Board of Education meeting, and we did a code red call. So the only thing we didn't go was go door to door people's houses. So I take offense to people who said that one person actually wanted to file an ethics complaint against me for trying to sneak the budget by them, they said so. I put a post out on Facebook to solicit ideas as to how we can better advertise the budget, got some good ideas. We're buying 25 more of the yard signs to put out around town. So hopefully on May 15th, which is the next time we vote, people will be more aware of what's going on. I do a code red early, people yell at me that it's too early. I do a code red later, they yell at me it's not early enough. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
I went out through the schools too.
yeah,
I got
well, the
those.
PTA. So, we do the best that we can to get the information out. I'll leave it at that. I have a series of cuts. Some come from, as you know, the state of Connecticut passed their budget on on Saturday. Whether we agree with the budget or not, there was some additional revenue that will be coming to the town of Seymour, so I'm going to go through this. Doug and I discussed this morning, but for the ECS grants, we'll be receiving $35,498 additional dollars. For the Pequot Mohegan grant, we'll be receiving $1,288. For the pilot program, $49,807. And then a new one, municipal revenue share, $50,194. So that all totals up to $136,787. On the town side, as you know, we've been doing a lot of things to try to control costs and improve our financial situation with regards to debt service and things like that. So we're going to see a lot of savings in those areas. The first is going to be on our debt service. As you know, we went from AA- to AA+, which is kind of a big deal. Because of that, we're going to be able to refinance some debt. That's going to be a savings that we're going to book this year of $68,904. What excites me the most is next year we'll have a savings of about $394,000. So we're getting closer to stabilizing the mill rate. We always targeted 2017, 2018. Next year is going to give us a good shot to try to do that as well.
Kurt, not to interrupt, but when's the refi going to go out? August?
Yeah. Also, on our town health insurance, which was alluded to by Chairman Patori, we had a significantly high loss ratio for the town. A month has fallen off. Because of that, our consultants were able to go back to Anthem and renegotiate where we stood. The renewal rate has come in 2.74% lower. That equates to about $175,000 savings across the board for the town, or for the entire budget.
Includes Board of Ed?
Including Board of Ed. On the municipal side, I'm asking that we cut the overall line by $92,000. That reflects not only the savings and renewal premium, but the understanding of a 6% give back from the employees. I think that is extremely conservative. But again, I'd rather estimate conservatively than too aggressively and end up with a shortfall. And then due to some staffing opportunities I'll use at the police department, in conversations with the chief, I recommend that we cut $50,000 from the police department line 110. From the Board of Education, I agree with Mr. Patori's statement. I don't think we should cut them at this point anything more than the reduction in the health insurance line with working with Mr. Belvin. That's $108,000. I think they should be given another shot at the level that was initially presented. Then I'm going to also ask that for the funding of contingency, you have $50,000 in there, that we do use fund balance. In my conversations with the folks at S&P, they had no issue with us using using fund balance to cover contingency. They agreed that if we are doing things to stabilize the mill rate and not unnecessarily tax our residents, they were supportive of that. So again, I'm going to ask you if you're going to keep the $50,000 in contingency, which I think you should, that you fund that using $50,000 out of fund balance. Those suggestions total $505,691 in total. I'm going to ask for two lines to actually be increased. Number one is I'm going to strongly encourage you to put the $20,000 back into the Economic Development Department. As you know, we just received a pretty prestigious award for the town of Seymour for the work we're doing to revitalize downtown Seymour. We'll be going to a gala in June. We were awarded one of 6 towns awarded this by the Main Street Center. It's quite prestigious, and these are the things that our Economic Development Director, Fred Masori, uses this money for. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to put that back in. Then I'm also going to ask for an increase of $7,000 for the library director's position. As you know, our librarian, after many years, has decided to retire. We are in the process now of filling that position. We have it narrowed down to a couple very strong candidates. And upon review of the salary structure we have for our head librarian, it's very much on the low side. So if we're going to bring in the proper person to take our library to the next level, to move it forward over the next 10 years, we need to address that and have a more competitive salary. So I'm going to ask that you increase that line $7,000. So the total amount, I apologize, I keep burping. The total reduction of the budget would be $478,691, which is about 0.4, if my math is correct, somewhere in that ballpark, about 0.4.
No, what's your total?
478,691.
That's total budget, Kurt, or just total? Sorry.
That's total.
So just to make sure that I understand, I'm a little slow at times with numbers, but you're talking on the expenditure side, you've got, looks like 160, 210, 318,
Yes.
or 368? You're talking leaving the 50 grand alone?
Well, I'd like you to fund the 50 grand for contingency with fund balance.
Because that's still in there.
Yeah, the expense is still in there,
I
but
know
I'd
the
like you to
expense
add
is still in
revenue.
there.
Yeah,
And the revenue side, we're going up 136,787.
correct.
You had mentioned a $500,000 figure before, 500 and something thousand.
Mhm.
What did I miss out of that?
Well, 505, that was before putting 20,000 back in
No,
for
but what's your health reduction? 92?
92.
Debt service is 68.9.
Mhm. Police department's
Police department's
50.
50 grand.
That's 210,904 for those three. Then the 136,787 for revenue.
Okay.
108 for the Board of Ed. $50,000 for use of fund balance for contingency.
Okay.
Should be 505,691.
Minus your adjustments for.
Minus the adjustments, so total 478,691. I had a conversation, well, email conversation, I guess that's kind of a conversation with Mr. Zawicki. I had some other potential cuts, but I'll hold off on those because they were smaller in nature, and I'd rather see departments stay as whole as possible and use these other savings.
You gonna make it?
I don't know. I apologize for chewing it up.
No, that's okay.
I still love you, buddy.
Why don't you guys get a room?
Yash and I had a little spat this afternoon, but that's what friends do, so.
I understand. Okay,
On the
Yeah, go ahead.
7,000 you wanted to put back into the library, is that for the director position?
Just for the director position, yes. Director's paid a little over $60,000 in comparing towns in our Durg and things like that. 65 to 67,000 is probably a good spot.
okay. I will go from my right to left on thoughts or any ideas, or I'll open it up if we have the fire chief here, the police chief is here. Would you gentlemen have any top things on your budget you want to mention, go into, or whatever? I mean, as department heads, I'll extend you the courtesy if there's anything you'd like to say.
Jim Smith, 44 Birchwood Road, Fire Department.
I don't want to put anybody on the
Okay.
spot either, but it's just a matter of courtesy.
Just that we'd like, if possible, not to get cut because we pretty much at the limits what we can or can't do. And if we start cutting money now, we're going to impact areas that we would prefer not to. Typically, some repair items, training, things like that. So if it's all possible, I'd like to maintain what we have. Thank you.
Chief, anything?
Michael Metzer, Chief of Police. I really can't afford any more cuts, but if we end up with the shortages we have right now in manpower, we're going to have a problem. So we're really at the line right now. We have an individual that's going to be going out on workers' comp retirement. We have a second one who may. And backfilling those positions, if we go through the academy, I'm probably going to need additional money in my training account to do that. But the loss coming out on the other side that I talked to First Selectman about, that's real, because it'd be gone. But the training part coming back on the back end, that's going to be a different situation.
So I'm assuming if you're gonna backfill, if you're gonna fill those, it's gonna come out of the newbie rather than somebody you're gonna bring in that's.
Well, that was the question I was just discussing with him this afternoon, for the difference between a certified transfer
Yeah.
or a newbie coming through the academy. If it's a new one coming through the academy, we're talking, probably wouldn't impact anything in the 110 line, but it would definitely impact something in the training line. Because by the time you get out of the academy, and we got them through the process, because the process is just starting now, we probably couldn't get him into the academy till the fall, which would mean the 30 weeks that he's at the academy would bring it all the way around to the spring, and then the 10 weeks on top of that for the FTO program would put it almost to the end of the year.
So we're looking at a body starting July 1 is 15?
Well, I've got one in the academy now that won't get out till probably around December. And that one's been accounted for in the budget.
Yeah.
The other one that left last minute, we have nothing planned right now to replace her.
Yeah.
That we're hoping to get someone in by the end of the fall for that run I was just telling you
Yeah,
about.
so that replacement will be as of July 1, 15.
Uh,
Clark, somewhere in that.
the last quarter, somewhere in the
Okay.
last quarter.
All right.
The other ones are the two that are going out the door now, that are getting ready to go out on disability or retirement, whichever it may be. I don't have a time frame exactly locked down just yet. It looks like somewhere around 5 to 6 months for one, and I have no idea what the other one is. And that'll impact my budget as far as overtime and manpower at this point. But hopefully this shall work maybe, but I don't know yet. I really can't tell you that.
Well, I mean, everything,
Yeah.
we had crystal ball, we've done a lot of numbers too.
Exactly.
I mean, all we can do is the best guess. And
Right. Well, it's like the overtime situation. I mean, we talked about it 100 times. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, we spent $18,000 on overtime because of the types of cases that work. All right?
That's fine.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But if I could, can I answer?
No, go ahead.
I I would strongly encourage you not to touch any of our emergency services. We made a commitment to improving our emergency services. I think both the police department and the fire department came in with very responsible budgets, worked very closely with both chiefs. So I'd ask that you, other than this $50,000 cut, I'd ask that you leave those budgets intact.
Start down here, Ed. Thoughts, comments, ideas, suggestions?
If I could just ask the chief quickly,
Go ahead.
the 50, that's okay with you? I know it's not right.
Nothing's ever okay.
Nothing's ever okay, but you're not going to like cry?
No, I won't.
Okay.
It's palatable.
If he doesn't hug him at the end.
I know, this is,
Yeah.
you got to remember, he's sitting right from you, and he just ate 1 million tacos, so
That's what we're talking about.
He has a gun.
he's burping a lot.
Yeah.
But 50,000 was for staffing operations, right?
Line 110.
110, yeah, staff.
Staff
uniform officers.
That's ours, that's our patrol division.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the way I looked at it was if we have these two officers leave, combined, they're, for easy math, let's just say it's about 130,000. So that would leave about $80,000 to address some of the issues that the chief had spoken of. If we're able to hire a certified officer, obviously we wouldn't need to make any changes, but if we were to hire two officers to go through the academy, then obviously some transfers would be required to pick that up.
I'm comfortable with that number because, here again, I know we bandied about the first time about the car. Okay, the car, 50,000, it's just about the same. That was the number I was
Okay.
looking at. Okay, as far as the Board of Ed budget, the 100 was my number coming in.
Okay.
So, you know, by hook or by crook or miracle, whatever, they're saying 100, we could do, 100 was my number for the cut for Board of Ed. And quite honestly, I wasn't going to go anywhere else.
Okay.
Because I thought we're lean and green, so I don't think we're ready for the little line item, $5, $10.
No, that's not the purpose of this
That's-
board
no.
anyway, so it doesn't
But,
matter.
yeah, that's, as far as for cuts, those were the two spots
Okay,
I was looking at.
fair enough. Heather?
I thought we put forth a responsible budget in the first place, so I'm having a real hard time with this cutting anything, but I'll go with the 100,000 for the insurance cuts. Board of Ed, town, again, I think we were so lean on the town already, but 100 plus votes wasn't that bad, so
The town side was under 50. Or
56.
56.
still not that bad, so.
No, not at all.
You know, what Ed said about the 50,000, it's agreeable, and I just want to do as little as possible and see what happens, just because that wasn't a landslide.
Dave?
Still digesting everything Kurt said.
Literally.
Don't use the word digest.
Suggesting being the operative word,
Everybody
yes.
has, did you take some Tums?
I'm trying to read my notes. Can't write as fast as you talk.
I say we make him sit here.
No, I'm good. I'm okay with the 50,000 on the police side, and I'd like to see us do the $108,000 in savings off the Board of Ed budget, as requested. That was a pleasant surprise to have that brought in front of us tonight, so I wasn't expecting that. So it makes it a little bit easier to make that cut, knowing that savings is there.
I mean, the only, if through the chair if I could, and the only real cut that we're looking at per se would be to the police department uniformed officers line. Everything else is just benefits of the budget and how things have changed over the last week since last time, so.
Wait, can I just ask a quick question? So if it's 108 Board of Ed, the other, I'm worse in math than you are.
The other was 92 for
The
the
other-
Yeah, so the
That comes to
175
200.
minus the 108, right? So already-
That's not only the savings and the renewal premium, but that's factoring a 6% employee copay, which we're in the process of negotiating
Oh, okay.
still
So we don't
from
know
the
yet.
contracts
Okay.
that expired in 2013. We're asking for substantially more than that,
So
but
you're
I don't
looking
want
at-
to overestimate.
You're looking at 200 total insurance-wide, 108 plus 92.
Correct.
Okay.
175 from savings and renewal, and
Yeah.
about 25,000 in a very low estimate in additional payments made by employees into the
Okay,
plans.
that's where I
So
was
we
going.
can't
I apologize,
subtract that
I
one,
read
That's okay.
Pardon?
we can't subtract that now, right?
No.
We're taking the
number of-
108 for the.
Going by the presentation, we're subtracting 92,
Uh-huh.
and we're subtracting 108.
Okay,
Correct. So
Amongst the other numbers that we.
structure,
we
you're
got.
giving the Board of Education exactly what you gave them
yep.
in the last vote. They've just had a reduction of 108,000 in
Exactly.
expenses.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
No.
Bev?
Not
Yeah,
this
I
time.
just had a question now. That 6% give back on the anthem, is that for the Board of Ed employees too, or no?
No, that's just on the town side.
Just on the town side?
As an example, if for a member of the clerks union, the
Right.
plan costs about $33,000, they pay $750.
Mhm.
This is saying that they would make a 6% cost share payment.
Okay.
Yep. And I said before, we're asking for substantially more than that,
Yep.
but I wanted to estimate conservatively.
But, okay.
Chief?
Can we take that 50 out of the insurance for us?
Oh,
Since it came from the town side.
I don't agree upon cutting the police department by 50,000. I think we should just let it stay as is. I think we've cut it enough. And I would rather take out the 50,000 from the contingency fund, put it through the fund balance. As long as we have the 92 and the 108 from the Board of Ed. And then I would agree with the two add backs of the 27,000. Now that 20,000, is that for professional services for the economic
Yeah,
development?
that
Okay.
money's at the discretion of Fred. He uses it for whether it be surveys or site work or different things like that.
Okay.
So, a lot of the money that he has, that he'll be focused on for the coming year will be on the Greenway Trail and things like that, so.
Kurt, I have to ask a question. I was all for leaving that money in the first time around, but you had recommended that it get taken out,
Which one?
the EDC money.
I don't,
No?
no.
Okay, then I stand
If I
corrected.
did, I misspoke.
Okay. Early on in the process, I thought you,
Oh, no, there was some money that I thought was overlapped between Economic
we caught that.
Development
Yeah, we
Department,
did catch that,
Commission,
yeah.
and Downtown Committee.
Right.
But I lessened the Downtown Committee a little bit, I lessened EDC a little bit.
well, there was a duplicate. EDC submitted the same budget as
Well, that was a little
as
bit.
Downtown Committee did too, so
Yeah.
that got worked out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a firm believer, I said in front of this board a couple times, we put these people, these committees in place, they meet for years, and we don't give them any money to follow through with what, what they researched and came up with. And, if we're gonna invest hours of personal time and volunteers into this town, then we need to give them some money to do the things that need to get done, to make it a better place.
I agree, and I think this award is a direct impact of those groups. Even the Downtown Committee only being formed for a short period of time, about a year, it had a direct impact on us receiving that award. So to Dave's point, it makes sense to give them a small amount of money, and 10 or 15,000 of $54 million budget is not anything to be concerned about when it's bettering our downtown and hopefully bringing business in and things like that. So.
Jim?
I agree with the overall numbers. I've done that though, really. It's just,
Okay. Anyone else at all? Comments, whatever?
I just
No,
have
go
one
ahead.
question on
Sure,
the
go
debt
ahead.
service. Now, you're going to get back 68,904 this year?
Mhm.
Okay, so, and then how much next year? 390?
About 394,000. I forgot my sheet upstairs. We were presented three different options. And the option I think right now that we're looking at, all of them saved right around 68 to 70,000 in year one. It's what happens years 2 through 4.
Kurt?
Using the one that we're looking at now, we would save the 68,904 in year one. I apologize, 329,261 in year two, and then 2,000, 4,000, 2,000 in the next successive years.
Huh?
Do you guys have these?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
It's on the second page of the handout that starts out refunding analysis for 2004. It's the second page in.
There's also a couple other choices that have smaller amounts, but still substantial in years 2 and 3. And then the last option has about 70,000 over the next couple of years. With our target being 2017, 2018, with the big drop in debt service, I'm trying to bridge the gap as best I could. I would rather provide tax relief to the residents quicker. And I think that 329,000 would have a bigger impact next year, as opposed to trying to smooth it all in. As you can see, that's 1 year away from the big drop in 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Again, I want to make sure we have options in 2017, 2018, depending on what we want to do at that point. But tax relief is the first priority. It's taken through the hard work of a lot of people. It's taken us about 4 years. It will take us, I should say, about 4 years, I think, to get our budget to a place where we can have a more stable mill rate and not have the increases that we've seen over the last couple of years.
If everybody's done, I guess I can throw my 2 cents in now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, cutting out the 108,000, I think, on the Board of Ed is a no-brainer. Quite honestly, if they're handing it to us, then they don't need it. We can reduce their appropriations easily. The rest of the items, debt service, the health savings on the town side, I don't have an issue with. The one, and even the add back on EDC and the library, I understand where it's coming from, and why you'd want to do it, and I don't have a fight against that. The only concern I have is if we knock 50 grand out of the police department, given 2 guys out, 2 guys leaving, are we going to have a game where in March, we're going to be looking to move money or training costs go up or whatever? And I'm thinking, or trying to think ahead a little bit, that maybe 50 is too high at this point. Perhaps, I could live with a $25,000 cut only because realize you've got to get some savings in. But, I just don't want to step out get into February and March and then all of a sudden, okay, hey guys, we're stuck because of overtime, you're coming to the board for transfers, you're doing whatever. I'd like to minimize that if we could. That said, what I'd like to do, Doug, are you tracking the numbers?
The revenue numbers are already in there.
No, I understand that.
Packet. As far as the health insurance, I took the census versus the new numbers that we got, and I came up with a little bit different number than what Kirk came up with.
Would you
And with
share
the
that?
6%, yeah, it's 73,000 and not 92,000. I talked to Dave McCluskey, and we're going to go over the numbers some more tomorrow and see what we can come up with. And if you want to take the other 20,000 out of health insurance retiree, which might be where that difference is, we can do that.
Well, then maybe I was wrong on that part then.
So, I'm just thinking that if, we got 20 grand difference, which is, that's not pocket change, even on 50 million. So,
But the other numbers, yeah, I put in there.
if you want to get with Kurt for a minute, go ahead.
I haven't done the police yet, but.
You know what, I'll take a motion for a 5-minute recess, so as not to rush the process.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll come back at 7.
You can come back in, we're sorry.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Okay, withdraw the motion, please.
Withdraw the motion.
Withdraw the second. Thank you.
Just some different census information brought the number down a little bit lower. So Doug's number, use Doug's number.
Which is, what, 72?
73.
73? Okay, so that's,
That lowers mine by 19.
Different by 19.
okay. So if we're now...
Sorry about that.
So we're at 299, I think. Let's say 10. Doug, can you give me a total on 68,904, 73,000? First, well, before we do that, is anyone on the board opposed to a 25 versus a $50,000 cut on the PD?
No. Before we do that,
Go
can I
ahead.
ask a quick question?
Yeah, no, go ahead, certainly.
Chief, on the line item for 745 for vehicles, for cars, for 57,180. Is that for one vehicle?
That's one vehicle, that's tires, that's first aid equipment, that's all in that one line.
Okay, so there's a new vehicle included in that?
One vehicle.
Is that a patrol car?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Certainly, go
Commissioner, sorry.
I guess I was going to, if I can follow up to that, is that something that's, you feel is a necessity?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Heather? Oh, go ahead, Chief.
I don't know what the status is on the second officer,
Mhm.
but according to what the first selectman told me today, there's a definite on one leaving in 6 months.
Okay.
And if that's the case, and he's being paid on workers' comp and not out of my budget,
Yep.
then that number for the half a year is 33,996, and that number is solid. I don't have a problem with that going out the door. I just don't know what the number will be on the other one, because his isn't, we're contending now, or contention on that one.
You're talking as opposed to 50 as
33,996 will be a real number for a guy who's out on workers' comp and being paid by workers'
So
comp.
your 50 is his 34,000?
Yeah, and then I put in a little bit more for the other officer, because we're just not sure about him. And I didn't want to be aggressive on that and come up short to your point, so.
Okay.
That's where the extra roughly 17 came in.
All right.
About a quarter of the pay.
But if we cut, so that'll be not extra, I hate using that word extra because there's never anything extra, but if we have that, even if we cut that amount, that could still, your overtime could still go up if we're cutting that per position.
Well, correct,
So-
I have to backfill
Yeah.
the position.
Correct.
I can't pay for two offices at the same time, so if one's being paid through the town for his medical, I can't replace him until he's done.
So even if we cut anything now, we could be paying for this
Well, that's
next year. Which you know we're gonna.
That's my point now.
So
Maybe we just
try
leave the whole thing alone.
and see if it
Do we?
goes with the other cuts.
I would think you should get at least a small amount.
All right.
But if it's not the full 50, and you only want to go with the 25, a little bit less than even what the chief is suggesting, I would be okay with that.
Hey Doug, back to, again, if you put, well, first on the, is 25 amenable to the board?
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
166,904.
Impresses even me.
That's 68,904,
Yep,
25,000,
yep.
73,000.
Okay, is how much again?
166,904.
Okay. Plus
Should we
108.
check with Doug?
Plus, yeah, check with
Check
Doug.
it.
Plus 108 for the Board of Ed.
Mhm.
Give him time to play catch-up on.
274,904.
And let's see. And restoring
50.
the 50 out of, although I'm not tremendously a fan of this, if the rating agencies are good with it, then I can live with it.
324,904.
Right here in a hurry.
I think he is.
Yeah, no. He can always leave.
It's right there.
Plus the 20, plus the 7,
Well, minus the 20.
minus the
Would
20.
we-
Plus the
do you
seven.
really feel we need to take the 50,000 from fund balance
Well,
at this point?
or are we premature? What's the thought?
I don't think you're premature.
What's that?
I don't believe we should be taxing the residents on money we may not use. And if we don't use it, the money falls right back to the bottom line, no harm, no foul to the residents. And it's, then falls upon the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance not to use that money unless it's an absolute emergency.
And for that reason, you feel we should take the money from fund balance?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I agree
And
with that.
I mean, I think you should put more in contingency and have more out of fund balance covered by that. Just, it makes it easier to move the money, but that's up to you folks.
Okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Thoughts? Jim, Beth? Restoring 20 for EDC and the library at 7. What's our bottom line minus number for the budget?
Just
No, take your time. We want to get this right. Hmm?
I had it, but I hit the wrong button.
No. Yeah?
You want to take your 5 minutes now?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time.
Where's your face?
I'll take a 5-minute recess.
So moved.
Second.
And
Anybody?
Oh, I thought you said you
Yeah.
said.
No, I
sorry,
can't, I don't second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We'll be back at 5:08.
Because I thought he
Anyone
meant
wants,
something.
anyone wants to go to the, in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we're back. Okay.
So funny.
Doug, what are the net cuts? And again, 68,904, 73, 25, 108, 50. And then, is that what you have?
Yeah, 25, 73, 108, 50.
You want to put the grant, I just want to get his number.
Just take us to like 28, I think.
Like 0.8 somewhere. I don't know. I didn't bring my count. Oh, I brought my calculator right here. Sits on top of
Where's
the
tacos?
Hey, up top.
Tacos are down there.
Never the twain shall meet.
They might.
Yeah, they could.
Okay.
Let's pray they do.
Well, this might get over this.
Just want to drink some water.
Okay, I've got 299,904. Doug?
Is that the,
That's probably one, right?
Probably about right. We could vote on about a mill rate.
I got the 249,779 as far as expenditures go. What's the cut?
249, we've got 68,904, 73, 25, 108, and 50.
50?
No,
Are you, are,
25.
50
50.
will be
Yeah,
249,
oh,
and the revenue will be 186.
25 is-
Stand corrected.
Yeah.
Yep, good.
And then 27 added back in.
So, and without the 50, 249,904?
Yeah.
Okay. On the revenue side, we got 35,498, we got 1,288, 49,807, 50,194, and 50 out of the fund balance.
Yes.
Will you put that?
So there's the picture from Senator King.
That's rude. Okay.
That was funny.
It's funny.
How's it gonna be in about an hour when it's, how funny it'll be then? So in total, we've got 186, 787 on revenue, 249,904 on expenses. I should learn how to work the calculator.
He's gonna come, right? Like
And we're adding back 20, and
Seven.
we're adding back 7.
27.
You're correct.
So we're going 27 back. 463, 691 net.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm asking. I just,
I had 459, 691, but I like your number better, sorry.
what?
Nothing. You're right on it.
Oh, boy.
You're the CPA.
So I come out with a new budget of 54,177, 890.
The number I got is 54,391, 511.
We need a visual.
What was your number again?
54,177, 890. And I think I know what the difference is. And you've got what number, Doug?
54,391, 511.
I think I know what it is. 213, 629.
I trust the computer.
Yeah, probably me too, but I just want to make sure.
I don't like the computer's number.
We'll do this again. Revenue's going up 186,787, all told. ECS 35,498.
The problem with my revenue is I don't have what was the last revenue number we voted on. It's not in my system
You
here.
don't have it?
Well, it's not in my system. It's not the way I did it.
I have off of, did you leave the copies?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you had left them? I just want to know where they came from. I found them here when I got here.
54.
The last revenue number I have off of your records, 54, 641, 581. 54, 641, 581.
Is that today's?
Yeah, that's on the,
That's not on mine.
that's on the printout from tonight that was here. What's your date?
This is what I got tonight. What do you have?
That's it, unless I'm not.
Oh, were you using the
And
one
I
from
could be
last week?
using the wrong one.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. Yeah, it's too thick.
Here you
We
go.
start out with 54, 500, 623?
No,
according to this?
Yeah,
You're just reading it.
Yeah, I think Doug's number's right. Well,
Okay, no, that's
just
fine.
because it's right around .81 is the mill increase.
If I could,
Not that I hate your number, which is
no,
low.
that's, I understand. Thanks
About
for not hating my
0.65.
number.
Funny
Just
thing
have
is,
a
they have to
question.
match up, right?
Well, yeah, they have to be right.
Yeah, you'd think they do have to be equal, all things considered. Just have a question. I just noticed something, and maybe it's just me, but I'll ask. Doug, on what you left here tonight at the table
yeah.
before we got here,
yes.
we've got revenue, it says grand total 5514 Board of Finance budget, 2014-2015. It's on, the page isn't numbered, but it's on the revenue side, it's like the fourth page in.
Uh-huh.
It says 54,751, 578.
Uh-huh.
And the last page on the expense side, which is the, I guess it's the last page, literally the last page,
Yeah.
says 54,500, 623.
Right.
How are we not in balance by
It
250?
doesn't have the new mill rate in there yet. And the new mill rate would balance it out.
At this point, because we have a lot of different numbers,
This is when we went to the,
no. Okay, what I will ask is take these changes down. Revenues are going up 35,498. The casino is going up $1,288. The pilot's going up 49,807. Revenue sharing is 50,194. And the fund balance is 50,000. So that gives us a revenue total of 186,787. Okay? Expenses are going down. Debt service is going down 68,904. Health insurance is going down 73,000. Police department's going down 25,000. Board of Ed's going down 108,000. So your total should be 249,904. Okay? Now expenses are going up $20,000 for EDC, $7,000 for the library director's salary. Okay?
Okay.
Now, in looking at all of this, the net number that I come up with and 27,000 on expense side is, what do we got? $409,691. That makes sense? And I'll move this process along. I will take a motion to adjourn and reconvene on Wednesday night so we can get some accurate numbers in print that we can see and act on as a board, including the mill rate. Because I'm not going to sit here and guess. You don't have it on your computer. You didn't update this. We're doing a lot of numbers here and there. And this is there's no guesswork in this because this affects too many people. So I will take a motion to adjourn and we will be back here 7 o'clock Wednesday night. And Monica, if you can post that agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.